Welcome into KSL Sports Rewind. Dusty Litster and Dane Stewart, as always, presented by Heidemann and Associates.
Yeah, that's right, Dusty. It's playoff season, right? So everything's on the line. And if you got everything on the line in a legal battle, there's no one better positioned to help you than the experts at Heidemann and Associates. A full-service law firm can help with litigation, set up business, whatever you might need. They're here to take care of you. To learn about their offerings, visit utah.law, or for a free consultation, just tell them Rewind sent you when you call 801-754-4240.
Yeah, Justin does such a great job for us. And also remind you, as always, we talk about 2022 being the year of you, but it's also the year just to get better. If you need to get that 4-year degree, they're there for you. You want to take that next step after your 4-year degree and be like Dane? Who would want to be like Dane Stewart? Get your MBA in 1 year from wgu.edu. I mean, he went all the way to Sparty to get his taken care of, but you can do it right here at WGU and do it on your own time, your own pace, and be able to get that Master's of Business from Western Governors University. Right, Dane?
Yeah, it's a long list of people who don't want to be like Dane. So if you don't want to be like Dane, go to WGU and you'll get it done much quicker and more affordable than Dane did. So there you go.
Yeah. But it all works out. You can just be great like Dane. All right, we're going to go through the brackets. Bracketology, we know that you all love when we pick your teams, or don't in many instances. But we're going to go through bracketology. We're going through all of them, 6A, 5A, and then in 4A, 3A, 2A, and 1A, we're going to pick who we believe in the championship games, and then pick our champions. And hopefully, for the rest in 3A, 2A, it matches what we talked about before. So, that's really what the question is, right, Dane?
Yeah, and look, let's just preface this with this statement. We're going to make all of you mad, with the exception of one team, because everybody's going to lose, with the exception of one team in each classification. So the real question is, at what point do we make you mad? And we'll find out as we kick this off.
Yeah. And as you can tell, I'm looking for good vibes. So brought out the old coaching blanket, got all my shirts behind me, all my hats from Helper. Dusty's not floating head this week. We're not doing that again. That was a mistake. So all right, let's get into our bracketology. Okay, let's go into this one. We'll start in 4A. Just so you know, we're going to give you our championship matchup and then pick our winner for 4A, 3A, 2A, and 1A. And I think we got a surprise here. All right, Dane, who is your championship matchup?
Yeah, look, as I was looking at the 4A bracket, Dusty, I've got Crimson Cliffs taking on the Skyview Bobcats for the 4A state championship.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good, really good. We have one wrinkle, however. Snow Canyon's playing so well down the backstretch of this season. They are not the same team that played Crimson Cliffs.
Yeah.
And when Crimson Cliffs went down, I just thought it showed some things. I'm going Snow Canyon. It's going to be played at Crimson Cliffs, but I'm taking Snow Canyon. They can't wear the blacks yet. Find a way. So I guess find a way. They went Notre Dame this week, and it almost bit them.
Yeah.
They didn't play their best game against Green Canyon, but they went Notre Dame. They went blue tops, gold bottoms. Blacks, fellas, it works. It just goes.
Here's the problem, Dusty. There's one piece of kryptonite in your whole theory, and that is Snow Canyon has to go to Ridgeline. They cannot wear the blacks on the road in Cache County in the cold. These two played earlier in the year. To your point, the Snow Canyon team is very different, but that game in the quarterfinal, Snow Canyon at Ridgeline, has huge implications on how this 4A tournament shakes out.
It really does. And here's the thing. It's Snow Canyon's revenge tour. It's the revenge tour to get to the championship, and I'm all with it. I'm in on Coach Esplin and Nowatzki. Chips are in the middle of the table. We're going in. All right. Who's your 4A champion? You got Crimson Cliffs and Skyview.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm rolling with the Stangs, Dusty. I love what they've been building down there. Coach Olafipo in his first year. Look, they've been the best team in 4A. They've made statement wins over the course of the year. And I think this offense with Still Barbin and company, they fly around, man. They score a bunch of points, and they still play lockdown defense. I got the Mustangs taking home the 2022 state championship.
Yeah, that's a great we're thinking the same thing. Until it's Skyview has figured things out since they lost to Logan. They lost to Logan, and they figured stuff out. And they've been playing lights-out football since.
Yeah.
For me, so has Snow Canyon. They've been playing great football, including wins. They're big in their region. I'm going Snow Canyon. First state championship in a long time since Coach Jacobson was roaming the sidelines there at Snow Canyon. And but I got Snow Canyon winning 4A. All right, 3A.
All right, Dusty, I think that you and I had similar brackets in our way to get to the championship game, so we're just going to dive into the championship match.
Yep. All right, we both have Grantsville and Morgan in the state championship.
No, that's our semifinal.
Don't you love when they get it right? I know. I was setting it up. I was setting it up. Because
what?
Never mind. It was a bad joke. It was a bad joke. So we'll stay here.
Okay.
See what happens when we don't sit next to each other? We do the video thing to make it easier on graphics. The jokes are going over heads, between legs.
Yeah,
right.
You lost me. Sorry.
I know. It's my fault. So Juab versus Morgan. A rematch of a state championship game from a couple years ago with
Yeah. And look, there have been a couple people, as they've been talking about 3A all year long, they've really leaned heavily into the whole Morgan and Grantsville thing, and Juab's just been, I don't want to say lying in the weeds, because they had a spectacular year. Alex Jackson and company, this offense has been awesome. Look, for me, the top two seeds in this tournament are Juab and Morgan. And I think one of the really important things, whenever we talk about making picks and that sort of thing, you can't buy our picks, all right? Like, we really pick what we believe to be true. And in this one, I just think Morgan is probably the better team. I'm going to roll with the Trojans. When they got that win over Grantsville, for me, it felt like, man, that was the statement that this Morgan group is the best team in 3A. I know they haven't played Juab, but you talk about Despain and company, that offense, and they're so physical. I love the ground game that they utilize. And that defense, man, they do not allow a lot of points. I'm going to take Morgan, the second seed in this tournament, to come away with the 2022 state championship in 3A.
You know, it's funny. A couple of years ago, Cade Bowering was the absolute stud there for Juab. And I rode Juab all the way to the state championship against Morgan. They even got the win against him. Cade Bowering and walking through that door. I love Jackson and what the Wasps do. I'm a big believer. I love that program. And for them to come right back in 2 years, which is kind of sometimes a little hard to do when you graduate as much talent as they did, to get it right back and come back to the level they have, really, really impressed. But I am riding with Morgan. That win over Grantsville. Grantsville getting the winningest Provo, and what that does in the Highlander scheme of how things work, you take their power when you get them. That's a lot. And so I'm going to take Morgan to win the 3 state championship. I think it'll be a fun game because Juab won't let it get away. That offense is that good.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, 2A.
Yeah, similarly, same matchups all along the way. We find ourselves at a championship game in 2A, Dusty and Dane's brackets, matching with South Summit taking on San Juan. And same thing, look, Dusty's been touting the Broncos all year long. Boy, that feels weird to say. But he's been the biggest Bronco guy in Utah all fall.
Not
he's been talking about San Juan.
Not that awful blue and orange Broncos.
But then you got South Summit, who have just quietly been going about business, putting together win after win after win, and drawing the top seed in this 2A bracket. Look, I think this game is going to be extremely fun. You talk about the Wildcats, and Dusty, they've only allowed 72 points through 10 games this year. The defense has just been lock you down, and that offense, we talk about their propensity to score. Man, you look at I think the fewest points they've scored this year is like 28. They find the end zone. Great balanced attack. When you look at their ability to run the football with Woolstenhume, and obviously through the air, you've got Lashy. I'm not quite certain how to say that. 22 passing touchdowns for the Wildcats. I'm going to go with South Summit to maybe shock Dusty and the family reunion, but I'll go with the Wildcats remaining undefeated, the top seed in 2A, winning the state championship.
You know, at South Summit, I mean, that was one of the first ones, right? Coach Grayjack and Cale Atkinson.
Yeah.
Loved that team. Loved them. And but then there's a little Kenya, my niece, moves down to San Juan, teaches there. Brother Nielsen's there, teaching the seminary. But is Parker Snyder walking through that door? Yes, he is. Is Nieves walking through that door? Yes, he is. And the Broncos, the only Broncos I will pull for, I don't care what level, NFL, college, anything, is because they wear blue. They wear blue and gold, blue and yellow. And little Sienna Nielsen comes along, and she's undefeated, and she's bringing home her boys are going to bring home a championship for little Sienna Nielsen, the cutest little baby that there ever has been in Blanding. I'm riding with the Broncos, but I think this will be a lot of fun. And I hope if we're right, I mean, it's just the way it should go. The two top teams clearly in that classification would match up in the state championship.
See, you just got to learn how to just like dig under Dusty's skin a little bit. Whenever you say he's cheering for Broncos, that'll do it. So
the only ones that will go anywhere else. I think I've looked and saw that any schools my kids would go to, that the school isn't the Broncos, even in elementary, they wouldn't go there. I would find somewhere else. So. All right, let's go 1A, and we both have Layton Christian versus Enterprise.
Yeah. Look, and Layton Christian, man, what a year for the Eagles. They've played out of state. They've played higher classification teams. This was a group that really burst on the scene last year for Coach Ray Stowers in his first year. And look, I know there were some Eagles that made the old trip north to go check out a tribe from the north, brave and bold. And it can be hard having to come back from the epic Kibbie Dome and get refocused for a playoff run. But, Dusty, there's nothing more inspiring either than coming back from the great land of Moscow, Idaho, and the Kibbie Dome, one of the most amazing stadiums in the entire country. I picked Layton Christian when the season started. I'm rolling with the Eagles. They're my 1A state champion.
You know, they do say the Kibbie Dome is the ninth wonder of the world. Because the Astrodome's the eighth wonder. The Kibbie Dome's the ninth wonder.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Mark Schlereth, these two.
Incredible, man. I'm telling you what, you get that place a rocking. Oh, man. The old Kibbie Dome.
All right. I got a surprise for you.
Good times. Good times.
We got Layton Christian and Enterprise. You know, I've been talking about Kyron Bracken. This kid, this side of Tavita Valetti, is a scoring machine out of the backfield. The only person that might get targeted more is Millard's DeGraffenreid. That poor DeGraffenreid kid, not to say poor, because it's great. They run it with him. They throw it to him. I watched that game against Delta. I think there was 18 targets down the stretch. All 18 of them went to DeGraffenreid for good reason. Kyron Bracken would have to come out with the big one in this one. But there's just so much talent, Layton Christian. I'm going to go Coach Stowers. Layton Christian bringing home their first ever state championship in football to Layton Christian. And I think this would be a lot of fun. Again, the way it should go. The two top teams in the classification should battle out for the state championship. This game would be played in St. George. That's quite the trek, but they're used to treks there in 1A. It's just part of their life. So those who complain about an hour-and-a-half bus ride at most, an hour-and-a-half because of traffic, welcome to their life in 7 hours where they got to go. But be an absolute blast. But Dan, the way this would all shake out in these four classifications, I think both of us, all we want are the two best teams to get there. 4A is one's just not the most decided. Feeling anyway. Yeah, it doesn't feel like some.
I think there's a lot of parity in 4A, right? And I think teams that had a lot of expectation and of course every team goes through injuries, right? But you get key players that go down, and now you're having to find kind of other ways to get through. And you talk about the development over the course of seasons. We talked about with Brighton in 5A, so much improvement from the various teams and ranks over the course of the year. Snow Canyon, a great example of that in 4A. Ridgeline as well, a team that has been so good the last couple of years. And they had to fight through some injuries and now kind of getting things back oriented, getting ready for playoff runs. Can't wait to see playoffs. Look, man, it's win or go home, right? It's single game in football, and anything can happen on a Friday night under the great lights of a high school football stadium. Cannot wait to see how these tournaments unfold. Look, what we learned in the first round of 5A and 6A is you just never quite know. Crazy things happen on a week-to-week basis, and we'll see if those top-seeded teams can find their way through to a state championship game or a potential state championship as we go through the next 3 weeks.
Well, absolutely. And we'll have it all right here for you on KSLSports.com. Your home for every state championship online is only right here at KSLSports.com. And also keep reminding you, I know these games aren't going to be played at Rice Eccles Stadium, but you might want to tune in. I'm just saying. Pre-game, halftime, you might want to check it out. You don't need to change anywhere. You're really going to enjoy what we got in store as we got it all worked out. But again, it's been an absolute blast this year. Pick with us. I shouldn't say pick against us. Pick with us. Let us know who you think's going to win these state tournaments. We'd love to hear from you. And we look forward to watching these boys on Friday night at the Red Zone. We have all these games in the mix. Dane's got his game of the week, as we'll get that one worked out as well. But for Vince Francis and Dane Stewart, I'm Dusty Litster. Thanks for joining us and for watching KSL Sports Rewind on KSLSports.com.